It's a familiar scene in many organizations. The grand announcement of a reorganization. A new chart is unveiled, boxes are shuffled, and new reporting lines are drawn. Leaders promise greater efficiency, improved collaboration, and a fresh start. But for many, this feels less like a solution and more like a recurring corporate ritual. The promise is always enticing: a streamlined structure, enhanced productivity, and a clearer path to success. Yet, time and again, after the dust settles, the expected transformation often fails to materialize. Things feel much the same, or sometimes, even worse than before. This phenomenon is what we call the reorg illusion. It's the belief that by simply rearranging names and titles on a piece of paper, you can fundamentally alter how an organization functions. It's a superficial change, a sleight of hand, that rarely addresses the true underlying issues. Think of an organizational chart as a visual representation of roles and reporting structures. When you reorg, you're essentially just shuffling these boxes around. A department moves from under one VP to another, a team splits, or new roles are created. On paper, it looks different. But this is merely a surface-level adjustment. It's like redecorating a room without fixing the leaky roof or the faulty wiring. The fundamental problems that hinder performance, innovation, and employee morale are often left untouched, quietly festering beneath the new facade. One of the most significant root causes ignored by many reorgs is culture. If your organization is plagued by fear, a lack of trust, blame shifting, or deeply ingrained silos, simply redrawing lines on a chart won't magically make people collaborate or feel psychologically safe. Another critical area often overlooked is inefficient or outdated processes. If your workflows are bureaucratic, redundant, or simply broken, moving teams around won't fix the bottlenecks. In fact, it might even introduce new layers of complexity and confusion. Leadership effectiveness is paramount. A reorg cannot compensate for a lack of clear vision, poor communication from the top, or leaders who micromanage rather than empower. If leaders aren't equipped or willing to lead differently, the new structure will quickly revert to old patterns. Do your employees have the right skills and capabilities for the work ahead? A reorg might create new roles or combine teams, but if the underlying talent doesn't possess the necessary expertise, or if there's no plan for upskilling, the new structure will struggle to deliver. Often, the way technology is integrated, or rather, not integrated, profoundly impacts an organization. If legacy systems are creating data silos, or if technology isn't enabling efficient workflows, a reorg won't bridge those gaps. It requires strategic investment and implementation. Many reorgs fail because they lack a clear, compelling why. Why are we doing this? What specific problems are we trying to solve? Without a well-articulated purpose, employees perceive it as arbitrary, a top-down mandate with no real strategic grounding. Equally important is the how. Even if the why is clear, is there a robust plan for implementation? This includes change management, communication strategies, training, and a pathway for employees to adapt to new roles and responsibilities. Without the how, the reorg is just a drawing. The human cost of the reorg illusion is significant. Employees often experience confusion, anxiety, and a deep sense of cynicism when they see the same problems persist despite structural changes. This leads to disengagement, reduced morale, and ultimately, higher turnover. Failed reorganizations are incredibly expensive. They consume vast amounts of time, divert valuable resources, and erode trust. The opportunity cost of focusing on structural tweaks instead of genuine transformation is immense, impacting innovation and market responsiveness. So, what actually needs to change for true organizational transformation? It starts with mindsets. Shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, embracing continuous learning, and fostering a willingness to adapt are foundational. Beyond mindsets, specific behaviors must be cultivated. This includes genuine collaboration across teams, proactive problem-solving, open communication, and taking personal accountability rather than assigning blame. These are the engines of real change. A clear, well-communicated strategy is essential. Everyone in the organization needs to understand the overarching goals, how their work contributes, and what success looks like. This provides direction and aligns efforts, far more than any new reporting line. Empowerment means pushing decision-making authority down to those closest to the work and the customer. Trusting teams to innovate and solve problems, rather than requiring endless layers of approval, fuels agility and ownership. Transparent and consistent communication is non-negotiable. This isn't just about announcing changes, but about fostering two-way dialogue, actively listening to feedback, and explaining the why and how at every step of the journey. The correct approach to organizational change begins with thorough diagnosis. Before prescribing any solution, truly understand the root causes of your challenges. This might involve surveys, interviews, data analysis, and deep dives into current processes. Involve the people who will be impacted by the changes in the design process. Co-creation fosters buy-in, leverages diverse perspectives, and ensures the solutions are practical and sustainable. Change imposed from above rarely sticks. Instead of a big bang reorg, consider piloting changes on a smaller scale. Learn from what works and what doesn't, then iterate and expand. This reduces risk and allows for continuous improvement, making the transformation more adaptive and effective. Finally, measure the real impact of your changes, not just whether the new structure is in place. Are productivity metrics improving? Is employee morale rising? Is innovation flourishing? Focus on tangible outcomes that align with your strategic goals. Remember, an organizational chart is a reflection of how work gets done, not the driver of it. A reorg is often a symptom of deeper issues, a desperate attempt to fix things without addressing the underlying disease. It's a band-aid, not a cure. True organizational transformation requires courage, patience, and a commitment to addressing culture, processes, leadership, and capabilities. It's about cultivating a healthy ecosystem, not just rearranging the furniture. Focus on deep, systemic change, and the boxes on your chart will naturally align to support a thriving organization.